I was going to title the video, Enfield is a game first, Gacha second, but I needed something a little bit more eye-catching. Clickbait, even. Oh, how dare me try to play the silly algorithm. But now that I have your attention, I will now talk about how Enfield is actually an RPG with factory gameplay that just happened to have Gacha on it. So I played Enfield on release, and at first I was just going through the game, trying out the factory and team building, as well as going through the story. But I had a sudden realization while playing the game. Despite its issues with story, tutorials that just yaps on, and I'll admit it could use a bit more strategical gameplay on its combat, I find myself forgetting that Arknights Endfield is even a Gacha game. Here's the part that I will now elaborate further on what I just said. Reading through character kits and going through combat mechanics, you can tell that it's been thought out. It gives you a ton of options, from characters that you can put on the team, to their status infliction, then how their certain effects work, as well as the reaction. It really just gives you a playground to play around with. And then, the factory makes you automate game progression. It is such a fun interaction because being able to optimize and quite literally build out your progression is fun. I love being able to just make the gear I need, as well as the structures I'll be building around the world. Speaking of which, I love the interaction of placing a zipline around the area to just make exploration easier and faster. This is not even mentioning the automatic guns you can place, as well as the mining rigs and such. It really makes you think, and it feels like a sandbox at times. I think carve has something really interesting in their hands, and I say this because the game actually feels different, especially if you compare it to other 3D gacha games. The factory is a fun game progression loop that you can just mess around with and optimize, and while something like Factorio has more depth, Enfield's factories are simple but fun. The exploration is limiting by design. I like how it encourages you to build zip lines and structures around the world as a form of interaction. It makes me genuinely interested at exploring, and it doesn't make it feel like it's just there for pull currency. I look forward to seeing more options to traverse the world, and I'd argue that the game doesn't even need climbing, swimming, or even flying. The factory and the buildings are what sets this game apart and what makes it different in comparison to the other mainstream 3D gacha games. Enfield quite literally disrupts the gacha market by being different. It attracts an audience outside the gacha space. I have seen people coming from Factorio and Satisfactory trying out Enfield exactly because of this niche. I believe that Enfield pretty much carved out its own identity already. The game is so different that the gacha space is actually going insane over it. The funny part is, that demographic pretty much just hate campaign against the game. Okay, to summarize what people have been saying about Enfield, I'm forced to build a factory and interact with the world? The gacha is different compared to my other games, so that means it must be bad. No pity, no pity. My slot machine is better than yours because gacha revenues chart said it was ranked higher. I only care about account progression and pulling on the gacha. Why the fuck do we even have to play a video game? The factory should be removed because I can't progress any faster. It requires me to actually think about the game. The game doesn't respect my time because it actually has gameplay. Okay. I just needed to get that out of my chest. The game is not perfect by any means. In fact, I was very critical on it on the surveys they send out. I mean, those thoughts are out of passion though, however. I believe that Enfield is one of a kind. It's a game that needs to double down on its identity in order to really have a foothold on the gacha space. Because even if you disrupt something, that doesn't mean you'll have a lasting impact on it.